Hello, I'm Gina Acosta, editor-in-chief of Progressive Grocer, and I'm super excited to be joined today by Lauren Watkins, the president of PuraVida Foods. She's going to talk about the power of food and why grocery shoppers are demanding more nutritionally superior foods. So I think we all know that the pandemic has greatly accelerated health and wellness trends in grocery, right? And they're specifically accelerating or causing, I guess, consumers to take a second look at every single food that they pick off the shelf. So specifically plant-based, organics, holistic foods that are functional, that heal, are super red hot. So that's exactly what Lauren's company, PuraVida Foods, is all about. PuraVida is a mission-driven food company that believes that food is meant to not only nourish, but also enhance people's lives. And so Lauren is the perfect person to shed light on the trend of consumers demanding high-quality ingredients, and they're ethically sourced and packed with vitamins and nutrients. So Lauren was born in Toronto, Canada. She grew up with parents who were super into fitness and were avid runners and cyclists. And she's always had an interest in fitness and nutrition. However, Lauren started PuraVida Foods after she found it really, really difficult being a busy millennial mom to find quick and easy options that nutritionally made her feel good, but also tasted good too. So Lauren, welcome.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and speak with you today.
Awesome. So Lauren, let me start off by asking you, what does the statement, the power of food, mean to you?
Well, Gina, when we talk about power, we're really talking about two sides of the same coin. Power has the ability to have a positive or a negative influence. The interesting thing about food is that we use it in a multitude of ways that often overlooks its core purpose, which is nourishing the body. Food has the power to not only nourish the body, but to also bring people together, to celebrate, to comfort, and to bond with one another. We often forget that the purpose of eating is to give the body what it needs to be successful, in the sense that we need food to grow, to feed our brain, and to combat and prevent disease. Overall, food has immense power that I believe is frequently overlooked. In today's world, we're bombarded with so many options that can distract us from the goal of nourishing our bodies. These options are often disguised as being healthy because they're labeled as low fat or high protein or low carb, which distracts consumers from digging deeper into what they're actually consuming. Ultimately, it's the consumer that holds the power to choose the foods that they want to eat.
That makes perfect sense. And that is totally consistent with all of the trends that we're seeing out there in grocery. So, in that statement that you made, you mentioned that power has the ability to have both a positive and a negative influence. So what does the negative side of that look like when it comes to the power of food?
Well, we see over the course of history that food has evolved from originating in nature and being, natural to now being more and more processed and artificial. Unfortunately, this means, that as time has gone on, we've focused less on nourishment, and this has led to drastic outcomes in our population. Food can send different instructions to our bodies based on what it's comprised of. So foods that contain artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives can distract from nourishing us. These instructions can negatively impact us, leading to instances of obesity, cardiovascular disease, digestive issues, as well as many other negative health outcomes. So thinking about what we put in our bodies is central to our health and well-being. For example, we continue to see the incidence of obesity climb to alarming rates in North America. In 2020, the US adult obesity rate has exceeded 40%, which is the highest ever recorded. We also see that food choice has an impact on children as well, with childhood obesity rates increasing. A new statistic was also released stating that 19% of children aged between 2 to 19 are classified as obese. However, when we look at the same statistic from the 1970s, only 5% of children were in that category.
Interesting.
And this is not to say that all changes in the food industry have been negative, because there's obviously many advancements in innovation and technology that have allowed us to ramp up convenience. And you and I are no stranger to knowing that in the 21st century, our lives are busier and busier, and they get busier every day. So this often leads people to try to look for quick, convenient options because you're on the go. And we're inundated with so many different fast food options that they offer comfort foods at a relatively low cost with virtually no wait. So we've started to see the really positive change that now convenience can also mean being healthy and fast without compromising on flavor or health benefits. So when we think about the negative connotations associated with food, it really starts with food companies. The food that they create and manufacture impacts the choices that consumers make.
Yeah, companies have a lot of power. So that goes right into like the next thing I was going to ask, which is, Lauren, do you think that food companies realize the power that they have and the effects that their decisions have on our population?
I think that all companies need to be more aware of the power that they hold. Like I mentioned, decisions made in the food industry affect people's choices, which in turn affects people's health. And then that works as part of a bigger system, which can put a strain on medical services and the healthcare system. So we need to take a step back and think about how the decisions we make as food innovators can influence society and mankind on a greater scale. Positive changes, no matter how small, can impact and lead to bigger, more profound changes. Although all companies operate to turn a profit, I believe that decisions can be made thoughtfully and strategically while still having people's best interests in mind.
Excellent. Taking some notes here. Okay. So, Lauren, why is this message so important to PuraVida?
This message is so important to PuraVida because we genuinely believe that change is necessary in the industry. And I think that we have a solution that can help bring awareness to the cause. My generation has sparked the movement towards change by thinking more.
Yay, millennials.
Yeah, we think more about what we put in our bodies. We take the time to look at ingredient decks and nutrition fact panels. And not only that, but we also focus on the quality of the food. So not only is it evident that something needs to be done, but I believe that something can be done if we look at the biological purpose of food while also looking on what I like to call the big five. And that's the quality of food, where it comes from, how it's been handled, flavor, and nutrition. And flavor is so important to those other factors because no one wants to eat healthy food that lacks flavor. So it's important for food innovators to always think about how healthy food can be sustainable and add benefit to people's lives in the long term. Like I always like to think about how we can design food with nutrition in mind. So we take extra care to look at the ingredients that we use and see if they have any nutritional attributes that can set people up for success in other aspects of their life, not just biologically. When we eat well, we feel great, and then that has the positive impact on other aspects of our life.
The big five, I'm going to go back and ask you about that later because I don't think I got it all down, but that's awesome. I love that. So last thing I want to ask you about, so in your eyes, why do you believe that the emphasis that you place on these values is what makes PuraVida Foods different?
Well, our goal is to really change the landscape of the food manufacturing industry and replace it with superior, nutrient-dense foods. And if we can change people's attitude towards food and help them shift towards a more health-conscious way of thinking, I think that it really has the potential to spiral into a bigger movement with more traction. And at PuraVida, if we can even be a small part of that change, that's a huge win in my eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lauren, thank you so much. This was really enlightening. Thank you for your time and good luck with PuraVida.
Thank you, Gina, and have a wonderful day.